everybody, I'm Hope, and today I want to share with you this adorable, everlasting paper chain that I've been working on. As you can see, this paper chain is not actually made out of paper, it's made out of felt. So I had this idea come to me in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep because I was thinking about how much fun it would be for kids to be able to keep their paper chains from year to year. This is always a problem because they always want to keep them and then they don't look good the next year. So I had this thought of what could make a paper chain everlasting. And I thought about felt. And felt is so cute anyway and looks so vintage and so sweet on a Christmas tree that I thought that was a perfect idea. And then as I continued to think about it, I had even better ideas about how the child could put it together. So I had this idea of using snaps on our paper chains, or our felt chains. And the snaps allow the child to do a lot of it themselves. And it's also some practice with dexterity for them to be able to do that. They also can customize their own chain however they want to. So they can put it in a certain order, they can change it up. And then at the end of the season, it can all be taken apart, laid flat in a box, and then taken out at the beginning of the next season when the child can make the paper chain over again exactly as they want it. So I kind of viewed this as a little bit of an heirloom project, something that the kids would keep from year to year and really enjoy and be excited to see come out of the box every year. As they outgrow it, that's okay. Save it for them. They'll probably want to share it with their own kids as they get older. So I've been working on this project for a while, and I won't lie to you, it takes a lot of time. I'm making chains for 4 kids, and my sister told me how long she thought the chain ought to be. She wanted it big enough to go around a child-sized tree like this. And I estimated that it would take about 40 links for the chain to go all the way around it. It makes a nice little swag with much fewer than 40, so if you just want to make a swag, which is where I was initially going, you can do it with fewer than that. So I knew that the chains needed to be stiffer than a single piece of felt, which is why I decided to use 2 strips of felt and then secure it with a blanket stitch. Now, if you want to make this a lot faster and a lot easier on yourself, you could glue it. Another idea, rather than the blanket stitch, would be just a straight stitch down the center, or maybe 2 straight stitches, one down each side. But I liked this and I thought I can do this while I'm watching TV or something else, so this is how I did it. So let me show you how I did this and what I've learned. Here's what you will need to do this project. You'll need some embroidery thread, and I just went ahead and bought this whole pack, and I've used about half of it so far. As you know, I am trying to make 160 links, so I will probably use all of this because I'm making for 4 kids. You'll need some felt. I bought just a packet of felt, and then I also added in a few colors that were not included. I added in this natural color and a bright pink and a light pink. You'll also need some sew-on snaps, although you probably could do this with Velcro, either glue-on or sew-on Velcro. So if anybody tries that, please let me know. You'll need a needle for your embroidery thread, and then you'll also need thread to sew on your snaps. I'm also using a needle threader because it's a little hard for me to see the thread and the needle at this point in my life, but you may not need that. And then you're going to need some good scissors. I really appreciate having these very sharp and nice scissors for this because I just think that it makes the felt look really nice. So I did not measure my felt. What I did was I took a little piece and I just made the size that I wanted. I thought I'd like it kind of small. Then I just made them all that size without measuring. So you can make it whatever size you want it. I thought that they would hold their shape better if they were smaller, and so that's why I went with the smaller ones. What I start off by doing is just cutting off the end, and these are not the exact same sizes. They're all a little different. And then that will give me the length that I need for my strips. You could fold the sheet that you're working on either way. That will save you a little bit of time on the cutting. And then for cutting, I did not measure that either, and I just did, that's probably about 1/2 inch, and try to cut it relatively straight, and I just go with that, whatever that is. And cut up your entire piece of felt. I'm getting about 16 strips out of a sheet of felt, so that would be about 8 loops that you would get. So if you're trying to make 40 links like I am per chain, then you would need probably about 5 sheets of felt, if I did the math correctly. After you have your felt cut, you're going to want to lay 2 pieces together. I'm going to show you on some orange because I think that that will show up well on camera. And I pick a contrasting color. Now let me show you what happens when you don't pick a contrasting color. In the beginning, I was doing some with the same color thread, and that looks okay, but if you're working on a blanket stitch, you know, why not make it something that they can really see that will pop? So I have changed it, and I'm now doing contrasting thread instead of the same thread, and I think it looks a lot better. For me, I've been contrasting the orange with purple, and I'm using the entire thread. I'm not splitting this, although you could, but I just wanted the look to be chunkier and for that thread to really show up. And I also didn't want to split the thread because I don't like doing that. So I'm using the whole piece. Like I mentioned, I'm using a needle threader, and then I've been simply tying a knot in the end of the thread. To start off, I put my needle inside the felt, and I'm going about 1/4 inch. Okay, so I'm putting my needle in there so that the knot is inside, in between the 2 layers. That's how I'm starting my blanket stitch. Then go to the back, come up where you started, pull it through. And so there's basically your first stitch, except on the very first one, you're going to need to push back through like this, and then you're ready to start. A blanket stitch is simple. All you do is come over about the width of the stitch. So if I'm doing 1/4 inch, I want to skip a quarter inch. I'm not being exact, and I'm also kind of making them maybe a little bigger than that. Pull your thread almost all the way, and then just loop through. Okay, I'll show you again, and pull it tight. Okay, so come up about 1/4 inch from where you did, pull the thread until you have a loop, put your needle through that, and pull it closed. Now there are better tutorials out there on YouTube for how to do a blanket stitch. So I'm not going to focus a lot of time on that because this video is more about what this project entails. If you need some help perfecting your blanket stitch, I'll link a few videos that were helpful to me, and you can go over there and watch those. So what you'll do is you'll continue all the way around with your blanket stitch. And then when I get to the end, I've just been pushing the needle through at the top of another stitch and making a knot. Now, like I said, there are better tutorials out there on how to actually do a blanket stitch, and you might find better ways to start and end than what I'm giving you, but that's how I'm doing it. And then after I tie my knot, then I'm just putting my needle between the two layers of felt, pushing it through just to kind of pull the tail of that knot inside, and then cutting it. And there's a finished link. So you have your link made. The next thing that you need to do is add the snaps. I've been using these snaps. This package says that they're size 2, but not all of my snaps say a size. The little tiny ones are pretty hard to use. However, I would discourage against using these really big heavy duty ones because they are so difficult to pull apart that I think that when kids are trying to undo them, they're just going to really have to rip them hard and damage the chain. Okay, so you're going to add your snaps. The thing that you need to remember with the snaps is that you put one on one end, and then the other one does not go on the same side. It goes on the other side, because that's what you need in order to link it together. So just make sure that you're getting your snaps on opposite sides. Again, this is not a tutorial on how to sew snaps, but what I'm doing is pushing my needle between the layers of felt, bringing it up, and then that will hide my knot on the inside. Make sure that you get your snaps going with the hole facing up on the one that has the hole. I've had to redo a few of these. And then at the end, I'm just going to make a knot. I'll make a couple of them. And since I'm going to have a tail on the thread, I'm just going to go ahead and stick it through so that the tail's inside the fabric, and then cut that off. Sew that on, and then you have your link. Repeat this a million times, and then you have your beautiful felt chain. I think the important thing to remember on this is just to have fun with it and not worry about it being perfect. It should be a simple craft, but it is going to take a while to get enough pieces to make a gift. This one is, let's count, 1, 2. This one is 26, and I think it makes a nice garland. It makes a pretty swag, and it's enough to make the Christmas tree look really nice, even though it doesn't completely go all the way around. So let's go ahead and put that on the Christmas tree now. And I think this just looks really, really cute. So that's it. Please let me know what you think of this project. I think it's really cute. My sister is excited about it for her little girl, and I hope that all my nieces and nephews are. I'm going to tell them if any of you don't want to keep it, give it to the others who do like it, because it is a lot of work. But I'm excited about it. I think it's a fun project to make, and then I think it's really cute on the tree. I think it's fun for the kids to play with, and they can do it over and over again every year. And then it's something that can be passed down, and it's just one of those sweet things that I think will be fun to see coming out of the Christmas decoration box every year. So let me know if you try this. Let me know what you think of this craft idea, and I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for tuning in. Leave me a comment and say hi. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.